So you know, sometimes I get on Copart and bid on stuff. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe burnt things. Well, I did that again. Our next cooked Copart rescue. Tri-5 1955 Chevy Bel Air post. Now the biggest question I think I have, go ahead and take your guesses now, is what drivetrain is in this thing. Huge tires in the back. This was obviously a drag car, it would seem. I gotta know what's under there. LS, small block, big block, maybe a Ford engine. Oh, of course. It's a big block. Big block, baby. This is gonna be fun. You think we can get this thing running? I guess before anything, we gotta get this thing up and off of this trailer. I was hoping these were Ford lug pattern, but sure enough, they're 5x4 3/4 GM lug pattern. Fronts will be easy, rears are gonna be tough. I don't know where we're gonna find 15-inch wide wheels with that offset. I suppose they're out there because they were on this. Those are just some Weld Racing wheels. I'm not sure if it's got a 10 bolt or a 12 bolt, little narrowed axle in there. Let's get this thing up. Let's try to get it off of here. We did just about lose that front visor. Thankfully, someone going down the road waved us down, said it was hanging off from the heat. Everything kind of expanded and then contracted, and all the bolts and everything were loose, and so it just worked its way loose, and it was hanging on this one corner. Thankfully it's okay though, and was saved. So huge thank you to them. If they happen to for some reason see this down the road, we really appreciate it. What are we getting into? I need a new tire. This tire's at least a little better. Probably save it. Hey, what do you say about wheel? So we noticed, see how hot these got? Notice these quarters bulbous out? Both those huge tires cooked and blew up and blew the quarters out of either side. Just custom flaring. Guess we might need some new tubs. That's my good wheel. Got the hood off, 502 big block. Got a little hot in there, but we've seen worse, haven't we? See if we're slap full of water or not. Oh. Definitely some water in there. It's not bad though. We need to get that drained out, get this thing pickled, get it running pretty quick. With the moisture that there is in this thing, if we even want an attempt at saving this thing, we've got to get on it. So I want to go ahead and get everything cleaned out of this engine bay here. Let's go ahead and get some of these accessories pulled. I might go and pull this radiator just so it's out of the way. It actually looks to be in maybe savable condition. This is like a $2,300 radiator from what I saw with these big crazy cooling fans you can see melted down in here. I don't think those are going to be any account. I would like to go ahead and get all the spark plugs pulled so we can get an idea of how much water's down in those combustion chambers. Go ahead and soak them completely full. And I want to get this distributor pulled so I can go ahead and get one on order, hopefully have it in the next couple days. And while it's out, we can get this oil drained, we can get some fresh in there, and I want to go ahead and just start priming this thing up, pumping oil through it, getting all the water pushed out of the passageways, and then starting to see if we can turn it over. Like I said, it's just kind of a race to save this thing at this point. Got to keep up with this so we can put nitrous back on this thing, right? Shoo. While I'm here, go ahead and get this distributor pulled out. About getting one on the way. Did have MSD wires, and I bet it probably had a pretty nice MSD distributor. Not sure we won't use an eBay special for now, but well, I had an MSD box over there. I'm gonna have to try to figure out what one we need. Oh, so clean. That was brand hammer new. As we're going through this thing, I just look and realize, man, this was somebody's baby, and I feel so horrible. I can only imagine how they felt. And I just hope everybody was okay. I'm not sure the situation, if they were driving, what was going on. It doesn't look like it was a major accident or anything as far as a car wreck goes. So hopefully everybody's okay, and I hate this happened. We're glad for the opportunity, I guess you could say, to try to bring this thing back to life. Might be savable. Man, look at those billet fan housings, or what's left of them. You know we're getting out of our wheelhouse when we got something that has a head temperature gauge on it. This was budget to begin with, because we paid $600 for this car. $900 after fees, and I'm afraid it's gonna not stay that way. Beautiful. No water up here. I love seeing that. So it's just down in the pan. Probably went in the spark plug holes then. There's a factory GM part number. We'll have to get this pulled to see if it's a GM Performance or an Edelbrock. I'm thinking probably GM Performance. Comp cam, roller rockers. Looks pretty clean in there though. We got a little water in it. Got a little hotter, didn't it? Yep, GM Performance. This is GM crate. Phew, that's speedy. Looks like our motor mounts might be a little just a touch cooked there, so we're gonna get this thing jacked up where we have some better access to the spark plugs, specifically on this side. I got some of these plugs pulled too. Not nice and easy. Definitely a little concerning into aluminum heads, but not bad. Oh, that's clean. That is a NGK running about a 40,000 scap. So not too crazy, but I don't know anything about big blocks and nitrous and all that stuff. I'm not sure. I think, if I remember right, nitrous will blow your spark away if your gap's too big. I don't remember. 4. Beautiful. No signs of moisture. This transmission fluid. Ooh. Got some water in there. C6. Beautiful. All right, last one on this side, number 8. Looks beautiful. Beautiful. Wow, super nice. All right, we'll throw that down there. Not bad. Oh, there's our moisture. You can see a little bit of condensation. Don't look bad. I'm gonna go ahead and get our funnel in here. Let's just fill these flat full with Marvel Mistral oil. That's gonna go ahead and hopefully take care of any light moisture we have in there, rust for the time being, and if there's any water, it's gonna push it up and out of the top of the spark plug hole. And then we'll go ahead and pull the drain plug. Let's get this oil drained out of here, see what we're working with, start trying to turn this thing over. All right. Okay. Alrighty. You look thirsty? Got some crystal clear water. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. All right, this is good. It's good, clean water. We have got to get this out and fill it up with something fast. All right, here's our oil. I'm gonna cap it off for a second. We've got to do something with this water. Here's some oil now. I was thinking it might have had a oil cooler. It does not, but I'm not complaining because that's a lot less for us to have to fool with. Oh, beautiful. No circulation of water yet. So it wasn't running or anything because it's clean, clean, clean in the oil filter. Go ahead and hit everything with a fogging oil. That's gonna kind of recoat and adhere to everything that should have had oil on it. That got burnt. Make sure everything is lubricated that can be. We don't want anything to be dry when we start turning over. Oil filter. A little bit of diesel. Try to help separate and clean off that water. Flushed and flushed and flushed, and then we went ahead and I spun this thing over with some fresh oil once it looked like we had it pretty clean, and I wanted to pump through without the oil filter in place. Oh yeah. Just because you know that initial sucking up that last little bit of stuff out of the oil system and then just shoot it down in the pan. Now I've got our new oil filter up in there. We can go ahead and fill this thing up with some oil. I want to go ahead and get some pressure on it. You don't want to do a ton without this thing turning over, obviously, but I want to go ahead and see if we can get some oil pushing through our passageways. And then we'll get a ratchet on the crank, moment of truth, see if this thing will turn over. There's a specific priming tool, because these will only prime the bottom end without a priming tool. So I guess I will go ahead and just order a priming tool. Get one on the way. They're only 15 bucks, 1-day shipping. We know our bottom's primed. I can see, we saw that oil pushing super strong. I do want to go ahead and see if this thing will turn over. Let's get a couple more things on the way so we can get ready to try to fire this thing up. Yeah, that is why it is just completely pumping this socket here full, because it's just pumping to right there, but not going any farther without the priming tool. I think you should do the honors. Oh, okay. Excited? Yep. Here we go. Oh, hold on. Maybe the starter engaged. That was a funny little sound. It's something in the bell housing, wasn't it? Yeah, I don't. There's something down in that. I want to pull this inspection plate and just make sure. Hopefully it's just something up in here and nothing internal in that engine. Guess this thing took some heat and a bunch of moisture in here. I think it was definitely back here, wasn't it? Oh man, I just got a face full of Marvel mystery oil out of the spark plug hole. And the noise that we were hearing was up, it was rust that was packed in, or something, rusty something packed up in that around the flywheel there, or the pressure plate. Okay, let's retry this with our little Amazon special priming tool. So as you can see, goes on your oil pump. This takes up that cavity where you would lose your oil pressure, where we're losing our oil pressure to the top. It's just blowing out and going down to the bottom. And then this kind of sits in your distributor hole and holds everything in place. All this side are good. Oh, that's our last one. Beautiful. Now for ignition on this car. This is not a cheap motor, even though we bought it cheaply. I wanted to go ahead and put the ignition system back on it that it had, obviously for safety reasons. So we have the MSD 8551 Pro Billet distributor, the 6AL MSD ignition box, and then the same spark plug wires that we had. About what we paid for the car, about $800 worth of stuff. Still better than the 15 to 20 something thousand dollars that engine costs, so I still don't think we're going too bad. I guess we're still technically sort of budget. I got some credit card payments to make. Anyways, let's get this timed up and put in here. What we are looking for here is TDC on our #1 cylinder on our compression stroke, meaning as we turn this thing over, both our exhaust and intake valves are closed and our #1's coming up, building compression. Right as we get up to the top, we should see our mark here line up, and that'll be where we need to be, and we can get this distributor stabbed. That's a milkshake. Before we start setting our timing and trying to throw the distributor in there, I think it's a good time to go ahead and get our starter working. Before we do that, the transmission obviously has water in it. I don't know where it would have came from. The only thing I can think is water running down and going right here in this dipstick tube. So hopefully it's not a lot, but it hasn't been pushed around through that transmission yet. Hopefully most of it's just down at the bottom of the pan. If we can go ahead and get in there, let's just drop this pan really quick and make sure all of that's empty and clean. before we take a chance of burning up what's probably a built Turbo 400. Oh my goodness. I don't know. It's clean. I think we're gonna be okay. But I'm glad we did that. And we need to go ahead and get transmission fluid in it. That is crystal clear transmission fluid. Look how clean that pan is. That was a brand new transmission. Check the part number on, you can see it was painted black, and we checked the part number there on the valve body. It's a performance valve body. So I'd say it was probably a complete performance transmission. Obviously, we're just going by what we see. We don't know offhand. Hopefully, somebody will see this and recognize the car and kind of give us some info on it. But we kind of need an oil pan or a trans pan with a drain plug, because I know we've got more moisture in there. We need to get in there, we need to run it, probably go ahead and change this transmission fluid again and give it some time to evaporate, kind of like the engine there. Did get it spinning around. If you notice in there, it does have a Yank Performance torque converter. So you can see RPM 502. These are the numbers. This was specifically built, custom built to this engine here, spec'd out with those billet internals. Holy moly. No water come out of those. Our starter cables appear to be slightly crispy, so we'll go ahead and get a fresh one. We were able to get up underneath, get the line looped on there. We got our starter wires on. Before we start turning it over, let's go ahead and get this transmission full. So we're pumping some fresh fluid in there. We're just gonna go ahead for the time being and run some inexpensive transmission fluid through it so we can clean it out a few times, and then we'll go back in there with the tractor hydraulic fluid that it had in it. All right. Go ahead and roll back around. Let's see what stroke we're on. See our exhaust valve open. So that's our exhaust stroke. All right, so this next stroke should be our compression stroke. Yep. We're sucking air as we come down. Our valve's closing. Yep. Keep it coming. Nice and easy. Piston's coming up. Keep it coming right up. Beautiful. Now the distributor asked us, it told us specifically to lube it up with this supplied stuff. Dang! I'm making a mess. Smell this. It smells like the, you know, the cinnamon breath mint things? Like that you get in the little, you know what I'm talking about, the little old ones? Smell this. Smell it.
The whole car's gonna smell like that.
Look, smell it. Come here. Smell it. Oh my gosh.
I believe you. Look, it's right here. Oh yeah.
Isn't that wild?
Nice. Nice.
Okay. Now I'm going to try to drop this in. I guess it's time to see if this thing will turn over. That starter got really hot, so I'm a little unsure A little nervous. Oh well. Kind of a crappy connection. There she goes. Ah, man. I blew it right on my pants. That is water coming out of the starter. I have a feeling this won't last long, but it is working. Try to get some PB Blaster up in it. Sounds pretty good though. No hiccups or anything. I say it sounds pretty good. It's a high torque starter that doesn't have any torque anymore. Let's throw some spark plugs on this thing. We're gonna go back with the same NGKs, 40,000s just like it was. And then we'll start figuring out the rest of our ignition system. So we're going into aluminum heads. I like to put a little bit of aluminum anti-seize in there. These boxes are pretty self-explanatory here. We've got wires going to our coil. This is a flamethrower that we had on the shelf. As you see, I had to run a different wire here temporarily. One of the nice pretty ones off of the Comet. Then you have your wire run here to the distributor. And then you've got a hot and ground, a main ones that go to your battery. This right here is your ignition on. And you have a couple other accessories you can add to this, which this car did have, was a timing adjustment thing for when you're running nitrous. And then you have and then just a tack. Apparently our water-filled starter does not like compression. Let's try to motivate it a little bit. Okay, go ahead. Okay, hold it. Tap and hold it. You're smoking. That starter is not happy. This thing did not fire, did it?
Nope.
Kind of neat Chevy logo. So that is the original little high torque starter. We're able to get a Proform identical starter from our local auto parts store. I'm realizing real quickly, this is not a budget hobby. We like the crispy stuff, but the slow stuff. The faster stuff is a little less budget, I guess you could say. It's a little straight drive, high torque, but so much better. Let's see if we can get some fire now. One thing I did change up, because I realized you pop this little cover off here, and then we need to set our rev limit. I went ahead and just did 5,400. It says the factory on these is 55. So I'm thinking zeroed out. Maybe that's why we didn't have fire. Oh yeah. Well, the dipstick is definitely one with the tube, so I think our best bet here is just to drop this in. It should be at its lowest spot and then pull the whole thing out and see where our level is. Okay. What's your level?
None.
None. Okay, so we need more. Huge pan down there. There's no telling how much oil this thing actually holds. We've got a solid 5 in there, but I know it's at least 7 because that's what my 496 is in the Suburban, but I bet it's probably closer to 8 or 9, if not more. Oh yeah, it's on there now. How do we look?
It's good.
Got a 770, if you can't tell from another slightly burnt car. Should be enough carburetor to fire it off. A little less than what it had on it. Got our boat tank, run to a fuel pump, because obviously, well, that tank exploded. There's nothing left. Definitely a little nervous. I don't know about you, Dad. It's not your average small block Chevy we're fixing to fire up. It's a lot of gas. Hey, no motor mounts. Woo, about to lose this one. That motor's gonna go boom. Wow, it pumped oil really fast. It's slinging it everywhere already. Dude. Yes. Whew. Sounds really good. Those lifters definitely need to pump up a little bit. No knocking or nothing though. Holy moly. What a monster. That's awesome. Melting wires.
Really?
Not yet.
But well, this one probably.
We got our timing pretty close too, unless this MSD figures all that out for you, which it may. It's low, but it's not milky. I think we let it, by letting it sit and drip out there for a couple days, we got most of it out of there. To run this a bit more and let everything clear up, especially those lifters, we're gonna have to have a cooling system. I wanted to keep the original because it's either chrome or polished, but the bearings are just shot. This thing took so much heat, so much so that none of the bolts came loose. I actually had to drill every single one of those out of there. We were able to order another one. It's an updated part number now. This one's identical. It's the reverse high output Edelbrock, but it's not polished. It'll get us cool though. Much heat as that poor little thermostat took. We don't want to leave it in there. Oh, yummy. Some burnt stuff in there. Good flow though. Didn't see any leaks coming from the core. There's our radiator. I did go ahead and throw a couple belts here on the water pump for now. That is obviously going to spin the wrong direction with them set up like that, but it should be fine, especially without a thermostat, to run just for a little bit here to make sure everything stays cool enough. and then we'll go ahead and start figuring out our whole serpentine setup again. We won't be running AC. I don't think we need it in this car, but we do need an alternator and obviously our power steering.
No leaks yet.
Let's fire this thing up and run it for a bit longer. Okay. And again. Okay. These things apparently like about 18 initial timing, so I'm gonna go ahead and try to get that set out, see if it'll idle a little bit better here. I'm sure it just kind of wants to clear itself out a bit. Man, this thing sounds healthy though. It is ridiculous. I mean, it's like in your chest. That's not bad at all. It just needs to clear up. What a beast, man. I'm slinging oil everywhere. What do you think? That's cool. What a sound. Pumping oil super strong. Actually pumping oil everywhere. I'm super happy. I call that 100% a win. What a good feeling. Taking a shot in the dark. I felt pretty good at $600, a little over $900 after fees. The parts on this car were gonna pay for themselves, but the fact that it had that right there underneath the hood and we were able to get this thing fired up and back to life, and it sounds really good and really healthy. We've got a few big blocks around here, but nothing like that. I know some people thought it was silly we put the Comet back on the road. We drive that thing literally twice a week. We've put so many miles on that car. It's ridiculous and it's a ton of fun. And so I'm not too afraid of another burnt car. I think this is another one that we're gonna put back on the road. I think it's one we're gonna put on the strip. With that being said, I think that's gonna wrap it up for this video. There's a lot we're gonna have to dig into. Hopefully that transmission is decent. Before we can find that out, the drive shaft is aluminum and it melted. So we've got to get a drive shaft to go in place of that or have that one repaired. And then the rear end is completely locked down. Hopefully that's just because of the brakes. I bet that pinion got really hot though. So we're gonna have to do some work into that thing. some suspension stuff, some brake stuff, a lot of stuff. We're gonna do it. We're gonna get this thing rolling again. I really hope you all have enjoyed seeing this thing fired back to life. Did you expect it to, or did you not? If you enjoyed and you haven't already, and you wanna see more on this rescue right here and our other fun rescues and rebuilds, be sure to subscribe button, notification bell to keep up with our future uploads. And if you have been a part of the channel, we do appreciate it so incredibly much. We get to rescue stuff that more than likely would have otherwise ended up stripped down and in a scrap yard because of each and every one of you. So thank you all so much. Peace out, and catch you all on the flip side.